see Marvel Studios already discussing even forehead of Quantum. Let's see this all about. Check this out.
We are now just a little over a week away from the official release of Marvel Studios' Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, the third movie in this franchise, which we were all assuming would close out the trilogy and we would move on. Just like how we only got 3 Iron Man films, we only got 3 Captain America films. So far, we only have 3 Spider-Man films, and we're only getting 3 Guardians of the Galaxy films. That the same would be the case for Ant-Man. We would get 3 Ant-Man movies, and that would be it. Maybe the character would continue on in the MCU, but, he wouldn't get any more solo movies. But now today, we see that actually that is not, at least most likely, not going to be the case, because all the big trades are reporting that Marvel Studios is officially already in discussions for Ant-Man 4. So Ant-Man 4 is a possibility and is something that may be coming from Marvel Studios, which I think is quite interesting because we saw, again, this is not very common with most superhero franchises and really just franchises in general, but we did see a recent example with Thor 4. We got Thor: Love and Thunder, which I know a lot of people don't really like, but that's a great example where Thor got 4 movies and possibly may even get a 5th movie, 6, however many they do for that. So it looks like Ant-Man is going to be following that pattern and be getting a 4th movie as well. Again, it's just that they're in discussions about it. But I think what's really interesting about this specifically, though, is that one of the biggest theories about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which again we haven't seen it yet, but one of the biggest theories is that Scott Lang will die. But I think this is one of the biggest pieces of evidence that he's not going to die, because if he dies, you can't really do another Ant-Man movie unless they passed it on and did it in a Captain America 4 type of way, where we are getting Captain America 4, but it's going to be Sam Wilson as Captain America instead of Steve Rogers. Maybe Scott Lang dies in this movie, and then in the next one, we get a different version of Ant-Man. Because, Scott Lang wasn't even the first Ant-Man in the comics, so they could bring in a different version of the character. That's totally possible as well. Evangeline Lilly herself has talked about how she would love to do a Wasp solo movie, which I definitely wouldn't mind. I think, she's been a character in the MCU for almost a decade now. She deserves it. She's just been getting the subtitle part of the Ant-Man franchise movies so far with Ant-Man and the Wasp. So I think she definitely deserves it. Wasp is a great character, a big character in the comics who has had her own comic runs and actually was originally the original first ever leader of the Avengers. So I feel like she kind of deserves it at this point. But it definitely is interesting and kind of surprising me that this is a thing, because you'd think that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, at least what we've heard about this movie, this is the big conclusion to the Ant-Man franchise. But it could be, again, similar to Spider-Man No Way Home. That was the big conclusion to that trilogy, but we know we're going to continue with a whole new trilogy, with the college trilogy for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So we could do something similar here. Well, there's just a launching point into another new trilogy of Ant-Man films, because this is a character that, and this franchise, it's a family-oriented franchise, and I think there is a lot more that you could do with this character, but just for me personally, I don't really know what they would do. I saw some people talking about doing Eric O'Grady, and I think that would be really interesting. Bring back Elias Starr, who of course was the father of Ava Starr. We know Ghost is coming back for the Thunderbolts movie, but we could bring him back. He supposedly died in that flashback, but in the comics, Egghead is one of Ant-Man's biggest villains, so it would be cool to see if it was a fake death and he actually comes back, so he becomes a bigger villain. We could also see maybe Crossfire, I think would be an interesting one. Maybe even bring back Ultron, because in the comics, Hank Pym is the one that originally created Ultron in the first place, so I think that would be an interesting route to take for that as well. But again, personally, I think Quantumania is just going so big. We are spending pretty much the whole movie in the quantum realm. How can you go back to doing another Ant-Man movie that is not on that level? Go back to that smaller scale heist family fun adventure where it just takes place in San Francisco. I'm not complaining. I would love to see that, but I just don't know if that would be the right direction to go for this franchise, especially because one of the things that I wanted to see in Ant-Man 3 before we knew it was Quantumania, before we knew we were getting Kang, before we knew we were spending so much time in the quantum realm, is I wanted to see Ant-Man and the Wasp versus MODOK. And we are getting MODOK in this movie, but it's going to be Darren Cross, this weird quantum realm version of the character. So maybe they could still do like the real MODOK, George Tarleton. That would be interesting to see as well. We also have, of course, Cassie Lang's Stature. She's finally becoming Stature in this movie. We assume she's going to spin off. I highly doubt she's going to get her own project, like her own movie or Disney Plus series, but she will be, chances are, a part of the Young Avengers in the MCU, so that's really exciting to see. But it would be cool to see that a lot of these Young Avengers characters are going to continue having more of a spotlight on their own outside of the Young Avengers with this, like how Cassie Lang would still have a big part in the AntMan franchise. I'm assuming that other characters like maybe Patriot would have a big part in the Captain America 4, that's what it's called. We have so many other Young Avengers. Ironheart is, of course, actually getting her own Disney Plus series. Maybe we'd see Hulkling, or maybe Scar in a She-Hulk season 2 if that ends up happening. But the Young Avengers are coming. Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming. Next week, Quantumania is releasing theaters. And supposedly, Marvel Studios is already discussing an Ant-Man 4. So guys, definitely let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'm pretty excited for this. I love this franchise. So even if Quantumania goes out with a big bang, I'd love to see it continue. I'd love to see these characters continue. And, you know, you can never get enough Paul Rudd. So anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video. And hit the subscribe button so I keep you up to date on everything that goes on in the Marvel life.
Subscribe, like this video. Have a great day. See you guys. Bye.